we got Missy Anatrice. What's going on, Queen? What's going on?
Hey, how are you? How are you? I'm happy to be here.
So, for the people that don't know, give us a quick intro on who you are and what you do.
Well, my name is Sienna Treese. I am a independent fashion designer. My brand is called the Sienna Treese Collection, and I design women's wear, typically custom, special occasion. I also do like resort and swim. I do a lot of I work, one on one with clients a lot. My website is siennaTreese.com, and I have some ready to wear items on there too. I'm also an artist, and my sister and I, my older sister, she is an artist as well. Shout out to Suban Treese. Our art gallery, we have an online art gallery. It's Artistic Expressions Gallery. .com if you want to check it out. And we do exhibits and shows. And yeah, so I'm fashion and art. That's me.
That's dope. That's dope. That's dope. That's dope. So, tell me a little bit about what got you into the fashion and art scene, and what made you want to start your own brand.
Well, I think what started everything is because I'm an artist. I consider myself an artist first. And I grew up drawing, and my dad is actually a really talented artist, and so is my older sister. So, I just grew up, drawing with her and everything, and it kind of grew into fashion illustration. I really like that. I did so many, when I was younger, and I just wanted to see it through. And like, if I'm drawing these illustrations, I want to, make the clothes, and I want to take this further. So that's what I did. I went to Cass Tech for high school. I majored in art and fashion.
Oh, you
And
smart.
from yeah, I knew it. I probably knew what I wanted to do like in like middle school. I was like tunnel vision. This is it. This is it for me. So yeah, I did that when I was in high school, and then I actually took like a private sewing class because I didn't know how to sew at all. Nobody in my family was like sewers or anything. So that part I didn't know anything about. So I took a sewing class, and then I went to the Illinois Institute of Art in Chicago for fashion design. And I studied there. And from there, I started, doing shows and um, taking clients. And it just became, I just created my brand.
That's super dope. That's super dope. How long have you been doing that?
I don't know if I want to say no, but my first real fashion show, it was in 2011. So
Okay.
I've been doing this for a minute now. It actually was I want to say it was Detroit Rocks the Runway. It was at Hart Plaza, and I remember it was my first. I was still in school actually, and I came back to do the show, and it's my first fashion show ever, and I was super nervous. It was actually a competition, and I think they had. That's when I met Naima from Top Model. She's a Detroit native. She was one of the judges, and it was just a lot of fashion, fashion designers like icons. Diane Barry. I don't know if some of you know her. She was one of the designers, and I mean, these are like people that have been doing it, and I'm just like still in school, haven't even made, anything other than like my classwork. So I made three looks, and I ended up coming in second place. So I was pretty happy about that. And from there, I guess that just gave me the confidence, or gave me like some sort of a, reassurance, like, oh well, maybe I do have what it takes. So from, I guess, 2011, that's when I started doing it seriously.
That's super dope. That's super dope. Yeah, definitely some heavy hitters, especially if Naomi was in the building. She's actually one of my mentors, so she was.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she's definitely.
Yeah, she was so super nice. I also met, I don't know if you know Marv Neal. He's a stylist, awesome stylist. In Detroit, I was paired with him
Okay.
to like help me style, and from there we just clicked, and we've been working together ever since. So shout out to Marv too.
That is super dope. That is super dope. So, What's one of the most memorable customer interactions you've had, and how did it impact your approach to sales and service?
How did it impact my what? I'm sorry.
Your approach to sales and service.
Oh, sales and service is like super important. I feel like service when my type of design, I work a lot one on one with clients, and the service is like premier, customer service and just developing that connection, beyond just the dress or beyond the garment. You really kind of have to um, collaborate with your client, and really work to get the look that not only is good for you, for me as the designer, but also something that they love. I feel like I've had a lot of client interactions. I've had clients with um I've had all type of clients. I don't really have a specific age group. So I've worked with like prom girls all the way up to, people for like their 70th birthday. I've
So
had celebrity clients. I've had, all type of different clients. And I've had a lot of experiences, a lot
what's
of interesting
your mo-
experiences to
what's
say the least.
so
It's not easy. It's not always easy, but I would say from cumulative, what I got is that, just being able to compromise and being able to work with your client and really kind of get to know them, like with your consultations and stuff. And it's just really like service is just top tier because I mean, I'm not the only person that can make a beautiful gown. We can go and get beautiful clothing just about everywhere now. So I think what sets you apart is just like the relationships you build and, how you treat your clients and really more so how they feel, in the garment and how they feel working with you rather than just, just grabbing something to wear. So,
so what's your most memorable customer interaction? Something that popped, the first thing you could think of,
um,
a client that stuck
some
out.
some of the things that I think of, I think about I had a Kenya Moore. She was a client. She wore one of my dresses. She had done a fashion show with the it's my friend Rodney Howe. He was doing fashion shows. He's done a lot of fashion, stuff in Detroit, and he's awesome. And he had her hosting, so I was able to dress her, and she, you know, took some of my garments, back to Atlanta. She wore them on the show. So that was a memorable experience, seeing my work on TV, and that was kind of earlier on in my career. So that was cool, but it's just been so many. It's been so many. Really, it's just like, I mean, sometimes, these clients sometimes become friends, or your models that I've used in fashion shows, they become clients, or it's just like those moments where maybe it's something super special like a wedding or something like, just a very special moment where it's just deeper than, the dress. It's like you're connecting with that person and you're really like part of their special day. So I would say like proms and weddings and stuff like that is like memorable clients, and of course the clients that didn't go good. Of course clients that maybe
Yeah,
they weren't happy, or maybe it didn't go right, and that's just how it is in business. You're not gonna please everybody, so definitely some of those not so positive interactions with clients have they come to mind. A lot of frustrating moments, but you know,
can't
it's all part of it. So
it's all part of it. You can't please them all. You can't please them all at
nope.
all. For sure, for sure. So real quick, I want to touch on operations and logistics. So can you describe a significant challenge that you faced and overcome, and how did you overcome it, and how did it improve your business?
I think I think with operations and logistics, I think a big part of that is just kind of like taking yourself seriously and taking your business seriously. I know a lot of us like start businesses or it's like passion, things that we're passionate about, but to really um focus in on those type of things like the back end stuff, business stuff is really what kind of will make or break, your longevity, and it really lets you know, and it lets other people know, like, I take myself seriously, I take my business seriously. And I think probably at the beginning when I first started doing it, it was just like, everything is happening and you're just like, you're passionate about it, you're meeting people, it's fashion shows, it's all of that. But I think when I started to get clients more, and I started to get more like, okay, I need, a space, I need an office, I need this, I need a website, I need to be able to maintain my website. Oh, now my website is crashing. I need more bandwidth, like that type of thing. It's a lot. I need my LLC. I need my bank account. I need this. You need to separate your finances, your business finances and your personal finances. So I think it just kind of happened when I started to gain more clients. And it for sure started to happen. I really took an even deeper look at it. During COVID, a little bit even before COVID. Probably 2019 was when I launched I always had a website, but I launched it, and my sister Suban, shout out to her again, she does all my website and my graphics and everything. She had been maintaining my website, and it was more so just like portfolio driven kind of. Um, but after I'm sorry, but in 2019, I wanted to kind of go more e-commerce. I wanted to not rely so much on the custom, because it's like I'm only one person and I can't it's hard to scale when you're just one on one like that. So I'm like, okay, I need to focus on my online sales. So I really took a a deeper look at that aspect and kind of focusing more on my site and getting that together. And you know then you're starting to think about, well, what am I selling? Am I doing manufacturing? Am I doing, where am I manufacturing? Am I doing it myself? Am I hiring a team? So it's just a lot that kind of goes into, like when you're trying to scale and everything. And I think that just comes naturally if you're experiencing growth, along the way. So
Hey, it goes back to enjoying that process. It's a lot. It's a lot of boxes that you have to check off when it comes to building a brand or building anything. I think the more serious you get into it, the more those dilemmas or more of those things start to come into fruition, and you start to
yeah.
build on those things, and it's what separates us from the people that's just doing it for a hobby, and that's something that I've been preaching for years, as far as business structure, websites, making sure you have your EIN, your DUNS, business, and
Mhm.
emails and business address, everything, to really set yourself up for success. Because I think a lot of people, they're looking, for the success, but they're not really, even with me, I didn't have all of the knowledge to really set myself up for success. And I bumped my head a lot of times. I had to learn, the hard way. And I think that's just how I learned. Period. I'm more hands on. But, for some people, they really can't afford to make these mistakes. Depending on what industry
Mhm.
you're in, you only got one time to make a first impression. So I think that was something that we had to learn early on, it's so many other elements when it comes to building a business or building a brand. And, that's what we've been doing, it's, helping, so many different entrepreneurs and creators, really set themselves up for success. So that's super important. That's super important for sure. And I'm glad that and a lot of people, really had to sit down during the pandemic, but I'm glad that you got that tuition a little bit beforehand. So I'm pretty sure you got a nice little head start, when it came to the pandemic, and really, popping out like we should have. And I think it made a lot of us really sit down and realize like, oh snap, my business is really not together. Even with back then I was helping a lot of people, get the PPP loans and different things like that. And I think that's what really woke a lot of people up, because they didn't really have a lot of the things that they needed to really take full advantage of it. Um, some people got 20, 40,000, and then the people that already had their business set up correctly, they got, I know people that got millions of dollars based on, having their business set up properly and, making sure that they had,
Hmm.
all of their ducks in a row. Real quick, what's some advice that you would give to entrepreneurs seeking funding for the first time based on your own experience?
Um, Funding can be a really uphill battle. Okay, I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, it can be really hard. It can be really, tough, and it's so much out there, and it's so many, loans and grants and programs and, business development, agencies and all type of stuff. And I would just say try to take advantage of those things. I know it's never you're never like too far ahead to go and take classes or go to workshops and do that networking. I know I did a course at Build Institute. It was at inside of college CCS, so College for Creative Studies. So I'm that like those type of things. Even though I have been to school, I still seek further education and just kind of stay abreast of like what's going on in the industry. And when you do those type of things, when you kind of keep yourself immersed in, learning and networking and workshops, it's easier to gain access to some of the relationships or some of the people or just some of the, opportunities that you may not have known about if you weren't, in those type of environments or, had access to those type of things. So I know it is hard, and it's gonna be. I've experienced so many no's, so many no's, and doing a lot of work for the applications and all of this and that. Like it's a lot of work, and you may not get it all the time, but I think just to kind of keep trying and just kind of like knowing what it is that you know, lenders and, investors and stuff are looking for, or at least trying to, pinpoint that and just making sure that, you have, like you said, your business tight on your end. You have your vision, your mission, and you have like a clear story. Because I know with getting funding, a lot of it now, to me, in my experience, is it's about the business, but it's also about your why. It's about what your vision is for your business. Is how can your business affect your community, the economy, your city. Like it's just more than just, oh, I want to open a boutique because I just want to have it and I want to make cute clothes. Like no, it's kind of like more than that. And that's what investors and those type of organizations that do grants and funding and all of that, that's kind of the things that they look for. So I would say with entrepreneurs and people with their business, just have a very clear vision and just be able to articulate the vision, be able to say you have done stuff, to show this is what I'm doing, this is how I've been operating, and have it match what you're saying. If you want to have the work that you're doing matching your why or your vision. So it's just kind of, it's about that a lot of times. to
No,
me.
you hit it right on the head. I touched on this earlier. Really knowing the why and being able to articulate that is super important. I've spoken and built with a lot of angel investors, a lot of lenders, different things like that, and that's the main thing they look for is the why, and they also look for are you easy to work with? Is this something? Are you teachable? Are you coachable? I've heard this, with many investors. They want to know, can they give you some advice? Can they give you some feedback? Can you receive the feedback? And is it strong enough to get people to even care about what you're doing? And I think that's
Yeah.
why where where your story um, comes in the most, and figuring out different ways to tell that story as well. And I think that's something that we're always focused on doing. Especially when we're doing our social media campaigns with different companies. Any type of production that we're doing. We always want to get the behind the scenes and the why, and kind of dive more into the story behind the brand. As even when we first met, with at CreatorCon in Detroit, that was the main thing that we was doing. Our entrepreneur spotlight. Shout out to Jelly. Shout out to Deshaun Franklin, and shout out to Creator Con for giving us that access behind the scenes, and shout out to all the sponsors that was that came together to really put on a great event, and shout out to all of you guys that that showcase was fire. I think that was the highlight of the whole event. But really getting the chance to get the stories and get dialogue and really hear from some of the people, especially in the entertainment business. You don't really get a chance to hear from the people behind the brand, or even with the models. You don't really you see them, but you don't really get to hear from them, hear their
Hmm.
inspiration. And we got a lot of great feedback. Shout out to everybody who actually checked out that content. And if you haven't, it's on Mob TV. Make sure you guys check that out. We got a lot of great stories on Mob TV, so make sure you guys subscribe and watch my TV. It's actually in that banner below. You guys can check out some of the great stories that we've told. We got a bunch of great stories from different backgrounds, but I think it always is going to revolve back to the why and figuring out how can we and really the biggest thing that I always stress as well. What are you doing for the community? How does this benefit the community? At the end of the day, like, yes, everybody want to be fly, but how does this benefit the community? And how are you, giving back? Why should they care? And why should they support? And that's something that's one of my biggest pet peeves when people just automatically assume people should support them just because they have a business. It's like, no,
Hmm.
figure out how can we actually support the community and give back, and then um, tell your why, whether it's through an interview or a commercial or whatever the case may be. You want to make sure. So you want to make sure that we continue on getting that why out there. Hey, let's tell that story for sure. So
Yeah.
real quick, what key factor contributed most to your business growth? How did you identify and capitalize on the opportunity?
I think, I mean, I'm still in my business growth. I'm still in it, so the answers I feel like are always kind of changing, but um I feel like for me, it was really, it's been really about, like I said, like connecting with your client and connecting with, um who's supporting you, so I think it is for me, and I don't know if this is has been, I know this has been true for other entrepreneurs, especially with social media. But even though when I started this, social media wasn't really utilized how it is now, it was more so just like, it was just starting, everything was kind of just more like organic or whatever. But people still look at you and they associate you with whatever your brand is or whatever your business is. And I feel like for me, what helped me, or what helped me grow, was that the type of, person I am, the type of friend I am, the type of coworker, whatever, family member, that's kind of like the type of designer I am. I feel like people can look at me like, oh, she's similar to me, or maybe we have this in common, and it gives, them a little more like of a, comfortable to come to me for, clothing, or maybe they can trust me or whatever because I'm, relatable, or I don't know. I can't, it's just kind of like you're just as important as your brand. You're not separate from your brand. Like I'm not separate from my clothing. If people see me, they're going to associate, I can't separate myself. So I think it's best to just kind of like just embrace that and just use it, to your advantage, especially with social media now. You can kind of merge, your business and yourself, because people, again, back to the story, people want to support, they want to see like it, people work hard for their money, it doesn't, everything is expensive. Everything, you can go anywhere and get anything. So it's like, why would somebody, choose you to support and spend their hard-earned money with, as opposed to somebody else? But maybe it's because they just like your vibe. They just think you're cool. They connect with you. They may have met you one day and you were nice to them. So it's just kind of like, people want to know, like they want the behind the scenes. They want to know as much as they can know, about your business and how you operate and what's important to you, and just all the stuff. It just makes people connect more with you. And when people are connected and they feel, familiar, and they feel like you have a relationship, then that's gonna make them feel safe, to trust you with whatever, for me, with their garment on their special day. I mean, I can't, no, these are proms, these are birthdays, graduations, weddings. Like these are very important days, and you want to trust that person, whoever you're, they want to trust me to deliver and take it seriously and have it be just as special to me as it is to them, and I think people do that just by connecting with you, and you just being, embodying your brand, overall.
Most definitely, most definitely. Hey, and I think that's the best way to be. Making real connections. It's all about real relationships, especially in 2025, man. We tired of the fake. I think we can. Everybody can peep it from a mile away. It's been around for a long time. I like to call it the Hollywood networking. We getting rid of that. And especially us being based in Atlanta, we've seen a lot of it. A lot of it is out there on a whole nother level. And we just changing the stigma. We bringing back the trust. We bringing back the real relationships. And I think that's really where the success is really gonna come. Like you said, people work too hard for their money, and too hard for their face card. To be playing around. So it's super important to build that community and build that trust and build those relationships within any industry that you're in. So you got me with that one. It's so I love when these are the things that if you know me, if you've been on our lives or been on our brainstorming sessions or been a part of our community, this is something that I speak on all the time. So it's always refreshing to see and hear it come back around full force and not just
Yeah.
come out my mouth. So I appreciate you, Queen. If you can, real quick, let them know where they can find. Give me one more intro for you, and let them know where they can find.
Okay, so I'm Sienna Treese. I am a fashion designer. My website is siennatreese.com. That's SIANATREECE.com. My Instagram is the Sienna Treese Collection. That's the name of my brand. You can just type in my name on Google and all the stuff will come up. I do all type of clothing, custom, ready to wear. Um, you name it. So,
Y'all heard the Queen. Go ahead and Google that, man. Make sure you guys check out some of her wonderful pieces. Check out her platform. I appreciate you, Queen, for hopping on and sharing your knowledge. And connecting with the people.